Welcome everybody to our latest Prime Target webinar. This time we're going to be talking about social media analytics for international marketers and how Prime Target leverages media data in our platform. All right, so our objective for today, we're going to introduce the concept of social media data and what the role of those data are in international market selection and my specific field, which is marketing science. The key points, the key takeaways of our webinar that we're going to talk about: we're going to understand why social media is useful for market insights. We're going to learn about some quantitative tools used to analyze text data or other unstructured content. And we're also going to see how some specific companies have put social media analysis into action and improve their business. As a more lengthy introduction for myself, as I said, my name is Jared Stuft. My background is in mathematics and statistics. I have a master's degree in applied statistics from a school in Pennsylvania in the United States. My current role is I'm a data scientist at the Bose Corporation, but I'm also the lead data scientist at Prime Target. My areas of expertise are data science and engineering strategy and architecture, as well as experimental and observational study design. And my really big focus is marketing science, understanding how markets work together and how we can reach customers and understand more about them. I work with my clients globally, Prime Target clients globally, but currently I'm based out of the Boston, Massachusetts area in the United States. You can reach me LinkedIn as well as email if you have any further questions after this. Tatianna is able to join later. I'll let her talk about herself, but she is the CEO of Prime Target, and she's a global strategy consultant. She holds an MBA in global management, and she's worked and lived in France, the United States, and China. Her areas of expertise are business and corporate strategy and international strategies, and she really focuses on SMEs with international development, as well as international market selection. She has extensive international experience and currently lives in France. And if you'd like to get in touch with her, you can either email her or you can check her out on LinkedIn. Okay, so social media data is really everywhere. Most of us use it in one way or another, and many of us use it frequently and on multiple platforms. We talk about our experiences on social media. We talk about our friends. We connect with them. We engage with companies and products and industries in a very public way. In fact, if you listen to Statista, they would say that over 2.82 billion users are using at least one social media account this year, which is a 192% increase since 2010. But it's not just accounts. We're also using it quite a bit in high volume. If you look at Twitter alone, on average, over 6,000 tweets are made every second. And finally, the average person has 7 different social media accounts at once. The important takeaway here is that it's ubiquitous. Everywhere is social media. We're all using it, and it's a really great source of information for us. Let's talk about the value of social media. What answers can we get from analyzing social media data? As a marketing scientist, I'm primarily interested in studying consumers and strategies and how to reach them in the best way. Having a good insight into what customers think helps us to shape our growth strategy on a global scale. We need to know what our existing and current markets are saying and feeling about your business and your product and your industry. But traditionally, that's a pretty difficult question to answer. But why is it so difficult? And what options are available for us to help with the problem? To understand that what the problem really is, we have to talk about some scientific things. The first is observed characteristics and latent characteristics. In scientific disciplines, we measure different data points and analyze how they relate to one another. It's a fundamental characteristic of quantitative science. Some characteristics are very easy to see and touch and measure. They're called observed characteristics because we can actually observe them. Think about physical properties such as height or countable measures such as revenue and budget. Other characteristics are less or not at all tangible. They're hidden, and we call them latent characteristics. These things represent ideas that can't exactly be measured, things like customer feelings or attitudes or dispositions. Now that we know what these two types of characteristics are, let's talk about how we can actually measure them in quantitative research. Again, we have 2 ways of measuring characteristics. In particular, with observed characteristics, we have 2 options. The first is direct measurement, and the second is indirect measurement. Direct measurement results in an exact number that describes the value. For example, if we take a room in a house, we can measure the exact dimensions with a ruler Or if we look at transaction ledgers, we can get an exact measurement of revenue and budget. Or if we look at a scale, we can get an exact measurement of weight. However, we can also engage in indirect measurements when we use proxies as a measurement tool. For example, if we go to the doctor's office and they want to know, or they want to diagnose an illness for us, they could ask us, they can get indirect measurements of symptoms by asking things like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how severe are your symptoms today? With latent characteristics, however, there's no way to directly measure them. There's no ruler that we can put up to measure, for example, someone's opinion or someone's happiness or someone's attitude towards your product. So we can only proxy them by directly measuring other observable characteristics. For example, if you want to know how a marketing campaign affects a customer's opinion on your product, you can't directly measure that opinion, but you can proxy it by measuring, for example, conversion rates. In marketing, we're primarily interested in measuring how customers feel and what they think about your company, industry, or product. However, those feelings are a latent characteristic, as we've talked about. There's no way to directly measure it. We can't put an attitude scale up that somebody can step on and see how the exact measurement of what their attitude is. Traditionally, whenever we're trying to understand these latent characteristics, it was done through a use of survey tools that have a mix of qualitative and quantitative questions on them. Well-developed studies like these can be really time-consuming and expensive, and unless you have a well-educated survey designer on your team, the results are rarely able to give sensible quantitative insights, and more importantly, it's rare to actually be able to link them to your key performance metrics. This is where social media data comes in. Speaking directly to the customers is valuable, but it's hard to scale to thousands and hundreds of thousands of respondents. However, we know that customers use social media often as a sort of informal review system. They post about their experiences and views on companies and products and industries quite often. Social media companies know this and they monetize that feature. They make the user-generated content available via online APIs and access to databases. With access to these APIs, really, we gain access to millions of miniature pseudo-interviews where these customers share their thoughts and experiences with the world.
I hope to see you again on our webinars, and we wish you excellent results on international markets, and yes, go global wisely.